the front page of the website says, we call for dismantling the nuclear family structure.
He is already better than the person that's been running the country for the last 3 years. Will they believe what you're saying? Will they think that you have the balls?
That said that if that Hunter Biden laptop story
Have any arguments against that right now? And I want to see how it goes.
This past week on Morning Joe, I saw a snippet of you asking Reverend Al Sharpton why you should vote for him over John Kerry or John Edwards when you were in college.
Yes.
Okay,
Take charge. 18 years old.
Okay.
I was a freshman at Harvard, and I considered voting for someone who wasn't a Republican, because I hated George Bush.
Okay, that's it. When I was in college, my first vote was for Ronald Reagan.
Excellent.
And as a lifetime conservative, I want to know how you can assure me you're not just another rhino who's going to turn your back on us and
It's a good
stomp on the conservative movement.
So I'm gonna
That was a great question. That was a great question, young lady. She's a conservative, and she want to make sure that you ain't no Trojan horse, that you're not trying to snake your way into this joint so you can screw it up from the inside.
just fess up on something. I did not come out of the birth canal spouting conservative talking points. Didn't. That wasn't me. I've been, they don't like me saying it that way. That's like, don't say things like that. So it's just the truth. I came to my views because of my experiences. So when I was 18 years old, I was badly disaffected. I ended up voting Libertarian in that election.
When he says that, guys, some people might think that this is a cover-up, but that's actually a good answer so far because, we all become more conservative. The older we get, the more experience we get. Think about it. We all do.
I couldn't have cared for George Bush. I couldn't have cared for John Kerry. So I knew it was a throwaway vote. It wasn't going to change the outcome of the election, but at least there was a guy who at least was less painful as a politician. I had a throwaway vote there, and then I'll just fess up further to you. McCain versus Obama, sat it out. Romney versus Obama, sat it out. I was disaffected, and I get why young people are disaffected from politics, because everything I told you from weapons of mass destruction to the '08 bailouts, that falls at the feet of Republicans. Everything that Obama sold us as a false bill of goods, that fell at the feet of the Democrats. And so I was jaded and cynical for a long time. What drew me in, it wasn't even back to partisan politics, I didn't think, but in 2020, so first of all, my first son was born. There's something about that changes your perspective. And looking back, that probably was the more important part of what happened in 2020. But a few months later, I'm a CEO of a biotech company, minding my own business. We developed 5 medicines that are FDA approved today. One of them is a life-saving therapy in kids. Another one for prostate cancer. This was my world, okay, just a very different world than I'm in right now. And then George Floyd dies, and then there's a demand that I make a statement and or a donation on behalf of Black Lives Matter. That didn't make sense to me. Even then, I keep an open mind. Look up your organization. I don't really think this is the company's place, but let's see what's going on here. On the front page of the website, it says, we call for dismantling the nuclear family structure of 2 parents in the house with a focus on education and a belief in God. So I said, no. I'm not going to be supporting some organization that calls for dismantling the nuclear family structure.
That will make you think twice about things. That would definitely make you think twice about things. The whole George Floyd thing actually made me think twice about things. Getting to know Thomas Sowell made me think twice about things, and I'm 45 years old. I didn't start to really turn my head toward, those things until, for a while now, because I was registered Republican for like the last 12 or so years, but I always voted Democrat because that's what we were supposed to do. I never really paid attention to politics, but when I did, only thing I paid attention to was, man, Obama's so cool. Ain't he black with a black wife and black kids? Oh man, that's good. Whatever he say, I'm for. That's it. But then when I started to see how I didn't know that he started Gay Pride Month. I didn't know that in his term. I didn't know that he didn't give as much support and resources to HBCUs, historically black colleges and universities, as Donald J. Trump did. I didn't know that. I didn't know a lot of the things that he was doing and stood for. And then when the whole George Floyd thing happened, that really opened my eyes too, because I started seeing people not giving a damn about George Floyd's actions on that day, and just more so trying to pit blame on one side of the scenario, of the situation, not really caring about the other side. It became extremely emotional and equally nonsensical. And that was the side of the left. And when I was seeing that, I was like, yo, I'm not like extremely emotional and lacking common sense. So I started to really look into the other side, and guess what I found out? That a brother has been lied to for a long damn time.
That led to a series of controversies. This is a multi-billion-dollar biotech company. So the most prominent investors in the world are behind me in this adventure. I'm in my 30s. My profiles, I ended up making a decision. 6 months later, multiple advisors to my company resign when I write an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal with a former law professor of mine arguing that tech companies cannot do the government's bidding when they're censoring speech through the back door that government pressures them to do. That's a familiar argument now. As the first person to make that argument, multiple advisors to my company resigned within 72 hours of writing it. So I had to face a choice. Right? The easy thing to do is you just recite chapter and verse. It's a pretty good seat for me to be in. The CEO of a big company as a young guy. I could do that and do what's actually going to keep my company out of trouble, or I could speak my mind openly as a citizen. I chose to step down from my job as a biotech CEO. I wrote Woke Inc., published it at the time when most people in our movement didn't heard the word woke yet. And I was unleashed. I was free to speak my mind as a citizen. I still didn't care for partisan politics. I started donating to Republicans for a while, then I stopped that too. They disappointed me. Look at what happens election after election. And then decided that, you know what, I'm not just going to be a bystander on this. Last year, actually, I founded a company called Strive. A little bit further than just over a year ago, founded Strive to compete with BlackRock and State Street and Vanguard. These companies are, by the way, if those of you don't know it, they're using your money, our money, to vote for these politicized agendas in corporate America's boardrooms that you don't even know about with your 401k accounts. So I don't believe just sitting around and complaining. I wrote a couple books about it. But I said, I'm going to solve that problem. I started a company and said, you know what? We're going to offer an alternative. Offer the same kinds of index funds, but going to tell those companies knock it off with the progressive politics and focus on shareholder value by making products and services. So I believe in solving problems, and I didn't think it was going to be through partisan politics. Even a year ago, if you asked, would I be running for U.S. president right now, I said, that's crazy. I did have a mission. We were successful with Strive, which, by the way, just crossed $1 billion in assets under management in a year of launching its first fund. That's twice as fast as it took for J.P. Morgan to get to the same place. So I believe it's picking my battles, succeeding, and winning.
Now, Lisa Marie says, I think this guy needs 10 years to really decide who he is. He's in the middle of figuring out his ideology. I agree on the fact that he does need more time to figure out where he stands on things. But I will say this. He is already better than the person that's been running the country for the last 3 years. If he's already better, then he's ready, in my opinion.
But last November, what do we see? The red wave that never came. The red trickle. Why? I think I have a good sense for why. See, so far, have I talked about Joe Biden? No, I've not. Have I talked about the radical Democrats and the Democrat Party? No, I have not. Because you know what? That's just a symptom. They're puppets. Joe Biden isn't even really the president of the United States in any meaningful sense of the word. He's not running the show. It's the managerial class that's putting him up as a puppet. They're not going to let him run against me either, by the way. The moment I'm the nominee, they're going to trot out their next puppet. Michelle Obama, Gavin Newsom, I have no idea which puppet it's going to be. But it's a system that we have to say, okay, that's the real problem. So we're not just going to recite the Republican talking points from our political consultants about the radical Biden agenda. That doesn't inspire young people. It doesn't inspire most people. You get the red trickle instead of the red wave. We have to offer a vision of our own.
Now, this selling the vision thing, trying to get into people's emotional state, that like this get people to believe in this dream. It's gonna take more than that to be the president, bro. Like, will these other leaders of other of countries respect you? Will they believe what you're saying? Will they think that you have the balls to go up against them if they don't adhere to your rules? I mean, adhere to the laws of the land, adhere to NATO. Like, if they don't believe that you would bust a move if they go left, they're going to continue to treat you the same way that they've been treating Biden. So it's a whole bunch of stuff. I'm seeing what y'all are saying, and honestly, I'm not addressing everything y'all are saying in the Twitch stream, because I'm seeing some stuff, and I get it. Y'all are Trumpers. Y'all are forever Trumpers. I get it. Listen, it's okay. Don't say, "Oh, I'm not a Trumper. I'm just sensical." Nah, you're a Trumper, bruh. You are a Trumper, and it's okay. It's okay to be a Trumper. But at the end of the day, don't be so much of a Trumper that you're not being objective in understanding what he brings to the table. That's it. That's it. And then also, some people are going to be like, oh, since he's so young and since we don't really know who he is, maybe Ron DeSantis is the best, to go with if something was to happen to Trump.